Shuva Hashem et shevisei kafikim ba'negev. Shuva Hashem et shevisei kafikim ba'negev. Shuva Hashem et sheviseinu kafikim ba'negev. Shuva Hashem et shevisei kafikim ba'negev. Hazoidim bedima velina ikzoidu. Hazoidim bedima velina ikzoidu. Kafikim ba'negev. Shuva Hashem et shevisei kafikim ba'negev. Shuva Hashem et shevisei kafikim ba'negev. Shuva Hashem et shevisei kafikim ba'negev. Hazoinim bedima belina ikzoinu. Hazoinim bedima belina ikzoinu. Hoping everyone had about Shavuos all the hunger we were learning about. We should get hungrier and hungrier to hear Dvar Hashem and to just not turn back at all. You can pass these around. We have the shir today. Leilui Nishmas Bas Yafika Bas Yisrael, Levi Ben Yosef, Fridason Bas Yitzchak, Pinchas Menachem Ben Avram David. Today is sponsored by Regina Warshawski in memory of loved ones who are no longer with us. By the Landaus, by David and Sarah Landau, Leilui Nishmas Horeinu Yitzchak Yaakov Ben Avram Shimon HaKohen, Gittel Tova Bas Yosef, Yisrael Ben Yosef HaKohen, Malia Bas Yechiel Mechel. The week is sponsored by Shalom and Esther Parnas in honor of the birth of their grandson. This is Bar Mitzvah. In honor of their grandson's Bar Mitzvah. It'd be weird if their grandson was born and then had a Bar Mitzvah. The grandson's Bar Mitzvah. And today is the yortzeit of someone who was a big ashpa in my life and many people in Efrat and over the world, all over the world. It's the yortzeit of Reb David Zeller. Today's Reb David Zeller's yortzeit. He was 18 years. Can you believe it, Yeshua? 18 years. Reb David. He was. You know what? Sorry. I want to sing for you a nigun of Reb David Zeller. This is a beautiful nigun. Listen to this. This is based on the words of his. He was like, I think if you asked him who's one of your Rebbes, he would say the Ma'or Einaim, the Chernobyl Rebbe. The Ma'or Einaim was very, very, very big by him. All Hasidus Chernobyl or Tolna. And this is one of his most beautiful, beautiful songs. I can't encourage you enough to read his book called The Soul of the Story. It's one of the most beautiful books that ever came out. You see someone that really looked to receive from every direction that Hashem sent him light. And he went through such a beautiful, long journey. And last night we had a gathering for his family did a gathering. We were singing his nigunim. Listen to this. Huh?
Where did he live?
In the Rimon. Yeah, originally from California. So I got to spend a lot of time with him when I was young, because when I was living in Los Angeles, he would come often to visit his mother, who was still living there. Rav Shlomo just passed away, and I was so hungry to receive from anyone that was Kli Rishon, and he was the one that I spent most time with, like mamash in those early years, and he had such a hashpah on me, and I miss him so much. And those of us that are privileged to know him, it's very, very deep neshama, with a very, very high-pitched voice as well. The joke was, I sing bass for David Zeller. Yeah, like that was even considered bass in comparison to where his voice was. So listen to this niggun. This is a gorgeous niggun. The words are from the Chernobyl Rebbe. Ay da 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 da, hello chai ani. Ay da 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 da, hello chai ani. Ay da 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 da, hello chai ani. Ay da 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 da, hello chai ani. Ay da 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 da, hello chai ani. Ay da 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 da, hello chai ani. ומי הוא החיות שלי, ומי הוא החיות שלי, ומי הוא החיות שלי, הלא הבורא יתברך. איי דה 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 דה. Ay da 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 di da di. Ay da 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 da. Ah da 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 da. Oh la 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 la. Oh la 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 la. Da 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 da. David used to say all the time, make vav, not war. Vav is the kav, that's mechaber. The yud ke vav ke, you have yud and ke. Yud is Hashem's infinite light without any hagbalas, anything. Hey is the kli that contains Hashem's light up there. Vav brings down that light of what's going on up there, from up there down to here. And then hey is the kli to machzik, that light that came down from above into this world. That's like the bekitzer nimratz of the kavanas of Yud Ke Vav Ke. So he would always say, make Vav, not war. If you really are focused on bringing down the light from up there to make it kli down here in this world, you're making shalom, you're making peace. And he was a beautiful neshama.
I can tell you a quick story about that nigga.
Tell us quick story.
Quick. Rav David was a really big interfaith character, huge. And one time he had a conflict, he couldn't go. So he asked me to go instead. So
Yeah.
I'm part of into what? Interfaith gatherings. So I'm there in Torah of Even. He sent me there. And so I'm sitting there with the priest and the imam and the Muslims and Jews and Christians. And I said, well, what am I going to do? So I said, I'm going to sing this niggun.
What we just sang.
What we just sang. And then I said, well, I'm going to sing in Hebrew, but some people don't know Hebrew, they know English. So I'll sing it also in English. So, but there were Muslims that didn't know either. So I said, let's translate it into Arabic. I said, well, we have Arabs sing the words of Chernobyl.
They should megala very fast that their tikkun is to stop sanctifying death. Halochayani. It should be chiyas. Fall in love with life and stop being satanic. Sorry. Hashem Yikom Damo of another chayal that was killed yesterday. Okay, Chevra. Parshat Naso. Parshat Naso. We have, listen, I want to continue the bracha. We learned Shavuos night. And I want to say a big shekayach to all the Chevra that we're up. It was amazing. I couldn't believe it. There was such a fire here, and I'm so thankful to everyone. Gave me such chiyus and koyach. And we were learning that we want the Torah to smile back at us. He'aras panim. We want the Torah to smile back at us. That's what we're looking for. Every relationship, we're looking for our spouses to smile at us. Our spouses are looking for us to smile back at them. But be'emes, we want to learn Torah that smiles back at us. Because then there's koyach HaMashiach, there's this draw to keep on learning and to mitchaber to the shorish neshama of our chelik in the Torah. V'ten chelkenu, our chelik in your Torah, the smile. This is a gorgeous piece that Rav Shlomo says, I believe it was based on Reb Leibele Eger. But our parsha, which is the longest parsha in the Torah, as you all know, begins with speaking about one of the sons of Levi. That's Bnei Gershon. We know we have Bnei Gershon, Kehas, and Merari. Why dafka did the Torah start speaking about Bnei Gershon, and in what manner did it start talking about Bnei Gershon? There's an interesting lashon here. Nasa Yisrosh Bnei Gershon. A parasha, you have the pages, yeah? Does anyone need a page that doesn't have? Are there any extra pages? Shkayach, thank you. A parasha azah potachat ben Naso Yisrosh Bnei Gershon gam hem. Lift up the heads of the sons of Gershon also, gam hem. Don't forget about them. Gam hem, right? Don't forget gam. Don't forget about them. Laset et harashim mitoch mishpachat Gershon. They needed extra nesias rosh. Why? Hashem Gershon ba min hashoresh. There's a typo here. I have to fix it in the next printing because it says min hasharush, but it should be min hashoresh garash. Gimel reshin lashon gerush, which means to be expelled, to be divorced out. Right? Gerushin. לכן אפשר לפרש שריבונו של עולם אומר לנו פסוק לעשו להרים es harosh shel mi shemargishim shehem gurshu. Just this alone is like an amazing vart. He's saying the Torah is telling us all those people that feel that they've been pushed away from Hashem, that they've been pushed away from Yiddishkeit, that they feel they've been, get out of here. Like we say one of the kinos we start, I think it's the first one, it says Suru Tame. Like the people, the nations of the world look at Yidden and they say, get out of here. Suru Tmeim, get out of here, Tamedika people. Now when the world tells it to us, we're like, we know you're Olam HaSheker. But there are people that feel that Hashem tells them, not so interested in you. Where Rabbanim have told other Chevra, listen, this is not your thing, get out of here. And bichalal, places in Yiddishkeit that we've got to, that we say, that we have this, we walk away with the feeling of saying, Megarshim oti mikan. No one's interested in me here. So Nasso Yisrosh Bnei Gershon, lift up the heads of those that feel that they were exiled, that they were thrown out, that they were pushed away. So that's, he says, a nice, taich on it. I mean, we could expand on that, but he's going to expand on it in a very profound way. Hakshivu ka'et ledavar chazak me'od. Now you got to listen really strong. כשבני זוג מתגרשים לא עלינו, God forbid, הם מגורשים מבייתם. When couples get divorced, they're divorced from their home. They had a home, now that home breaks up, and they're divorced from what they once had. הפעם הראשונה שהשורש גרש מופיע היא אצל אדם וחווה בגן עדן. Where does this term first appear? Gan Eden, because the lashon is vayigaresh es ha'adam, right? Yeah, vayigaresh es ha'adam. They were in Gan Eden, and Hashem, after what happened with the snake and Eitz Hadas, the lashon is Hashem was megaresh the Adam. People like to call, people say they call it the hitnatkut, but anyone with half a cup knows that's not that word is a very Amalek word, hitnatkut, disengagement. No. It was Gerush of Yidden from their homes. Really worked out for us really good. Efshar lefaresh Hashem giresh et Adam. So you can dash and say, Hashem was megaresh Adam, right? That he exiled him. Be'efshar lefaresh shehu hitgaresh mimeno. which is very, very heavy. You understand what he said? He said, the first thing I could say is that Hashem exiled Adam out of Gan Eden. But you could also say, on the Pshat, Vayigaresh es Adam means they were married. Hashem and man were kivyachol married. And Hashem divorced Adam. Now, there are people that actually feel like this. There are people that really feel that the Eibishter, it looks at my Avodas Hashem, he's not interested. And he throws me out. Now, obviously, it's not emes, it can't be emes. Ki lo yidach mimeno nidach, we don't believe in that. But it's a hargasha shebalev that I've had many conversations with people in this room about. It is a feeling, it is an emotion that we carry. Bahemshech, now right after that, Gerush comes up again in Parshas Bereishis. Ksheharag Kain is Hevel Achiv, after Kain kills Hevel, Omer la Hashem, Na vanad tiyeh ba'aretz. What does that mean? You're basically going to be looking, wandering non-stop. You're not going to find a place in this world. So Cain answers back. He says, you know what, let's call it spade for spade. What did you do to me? Hein geirashta oti hayom. Let's call, Hashem, you call it like wandering, my gzeira, the decree upon me was to wander. Let's call it spade for spade. You divorced me. You threw me out of here. You could say, no, I just told you, na vanat tiyeh ba'aretz, but Cain is saying, I'm telling you what I'm feeling, Hashem. I'm feeling that you divorced me, that you were done with me.
It's not the first time Cain felt that way.
He felt it also for the first time with the mincha that wasn't accepted.
Hashem is Badaf using the word gerish, and he could have used another word, but he's using this word specifically, so it is connected to divorce. I know
Me'achos.
good,
Like what other word could have been used? Vayotze, Hishlich, Vehifrid. There's men, nachon.
Also with Hagar, he says, Vayigaresh Tabi Pne'am, there's like...
Totally. It's supposed to, really, meaning, it's very good. There are a lot of different Lashonos you could say for like, listen, let's go our own ways, or, like Avram Avinu. With Lot, he doesn't use Gerushin. He parted, it's pirud, right? That's the Lashon. It's Dafka, Rav Shlomo is saying, the name Gershon is a very interesting name. Moshe Rabbeinu's son almost has that name, not exactly. There's a mem at the end of his son's name. Not Gershon, it's Gershom, which has a lot of diukim also and connections between the two. But it's dafka, the usage of this word that we use for divorce, which describes Hashem's relationship with the first man and the first son of the first man. It's not stam.
If you look at the whole name, it's the shorish gimel resh shin, but then there's a vav nun sofit. So it's Litgaresh, and then there's the ultimate connection that also happens.
You're learning a lot of pnimius these days. You're saying Garesh, Vav, Nun Sharei Bina. It's already, huh? Regesh. Let's see. That's very chazak. Let's see how Rav Shlomo develops this. אי אפשר לומר על אדם שהוא מגורש ממקום שמעולם לא היה בו. So you can't say that someone is divorced or exiled from a place that they never were. For instance, I'm going to tell you right now, you're all megurash from Saudi Arabia. No, I have to be in Saudi Arabia in order to be mizgaresh from Saudi Arabia.
You can't be divorced if you were never married.
You can't be divorced. Very good. I'll tell you a deep, like, BUT. You know what a BUT is? My brother used to call me, like, when he wanted to just say, like, a Torah would knock my socks off, he would say, Shlomo, you ready for your BUT? A BUT is a buckle-up Torah. So, many of you remember our friend Moish Geller, Olav Shalom. Moish was actually the one that told me that David was nifter. Moish said like this, we say, Al tashlicheni milfanecha, veruach kodshecha al tikach mimenu. So don't chuck us away. That could also have been a word, by the way, that Hashem could have used. Vayashlichel, like we have in the Torah. Al tashlicheni milfanecha. And then we say, veruach kodshecha al tikach mimenu. And don't take away from us your Ruach HaKodesh. Hi, mashma.
So we have Ruach HaKodesh.
B'diuk. Because if I'm saying don't take it away from me, what does that mean? that I have it. So we're like, it's a backwards way. David HaMelech is basically coming from the back door telling you, Yid, do you understand you have Ruach HaKodesh? If you're asking, don't take it away from me. Hai mashma, that you have it. So it's the same nekuda, like you said, Yosef. You can't be divorced. You can't get divorced unless you're married. And you can't be thrown out of somewhere unless you were there. Now look at this. Who are we talking about? Bnei Gershon. כאן אנחנו מדברים על אחת ממשפחות הלווים, שנבחרו מתוך כל עם ישראל. והמשפחה הזאת נקראת דווקא גרשון, במשמעות של גירוש. Who were these people? What was their Indian? גרשון. מה היה הסיפור שלהם? משהו תמיד השתבש איתם. פשוט לא הצליח. Something always went wrong. Something just never... Kehas, they definitely messed up a little bit later on through Korach. Right? Merari also. Mar, there's also their tikkun. Levi is full of tikkunim. Right? Merari. Gershon, Kas, Merari. It's very, very interesting. Gershon, he says, the name is, they wanted to be close, but they always felt like they're not wanted. Like Cain experienced that his korban wasn't wanted. So when he says, Hein gerashta oti hayom, he feels it. You're not interested in what I have to offer. You're not interested. Recently, a Rav that came to Eretz Yisrael and tried to make aliyah, and I mamish feel so bad for him. He's real erlich yid, a beautiful, beautiful yid. Left a lot to come here. And he's trying to do his thing here. And he said to me, it looks like my wife and I are going back this summer. I said, why? He says, אף אחד לא מעוניין במה שיש לי לתת. And you should know that David Zeller, alav shalom, one of my last conversations with him, broke my heart because he would always perform at the Rav Shlomo Yahrzeit concert. First it was in Yeshurun, then it was in Binyanei Homa. And he had a very light and gentle voice. Listen to him today on Spotify. Gentle, high pitch, I told you, very light. As the years would go by, the crowds that would come to Binyanei Homa weren't interested in his set. And the last time he went up, they kind of started clapping fast to get him off stage. And he said to me, it doesn't seem like this door is interested in what I have to offer. It's a very, very heavy thing. So this learning today should give koach to all those that feel megurash to not feel megurash, to feel welcomed. So Rav Shlomo says this Bnei Gershon had this inyan that it's just not working for me. הם רצו מאוד להתחבר, אבל זה לא הצליח. They really wanted to connect, it just wasn't working. As Hashem amar leMoshe, so Moshe Rabbeinu was told by Hashem, lift up their heads. Nasso is rosh, tarim et harosh shelem, lift up their heads. Reb Leib le'egel omer es hadavar achi amak. Reb Leib le'egel says the deepest depths. Ma pirush laset et harosh? What does it mean to lift up your head? Hakavana להגביה et hamachshavot. It doesn't mean lift up their heads because they're looking like nebachs. It means take up your thoughts, the way you think, and lift it up. Nasa es rosh. Chassidus it says, Se'u sha'arim rasheichem. That's the famous word in Chassidus. The emes is Miza melech hakavod. The melech of kavod is coming to Se'u sha'arim rasheichem. Us'u pischei olam. Lift up your heads, the way you think. Lift up the way you internalize things. And then v'yavai melech hakavod. הכוונה להגביה את המחשבות כך שהאדם מבין לפתע שכל מה שקורה לו הרבה יותר עמוק ממה שהוא חושב, הרבה יותר גבוה. When I'm able to elevate the way that I think and internalize things, I'm able to understand that much deeper things are happening beneath the surface over here. So I'm able to go through whatever it feels like a gerushin, because I realize what to me seems like a gerush is actually a achana for something much, much bigger, much more profound. You want to say something?
I mean, can you say Levi's whole job, they had already looked at. Their job was to lift up those who were in pain, and we went through this stuff. So rooted in their names was their tikkun to help others.
Yefé meod.
Zus rosh achirim. It's not just their avodah, their pain is their debt.
Yefé. I mean, you could also continue what you're saying. That was basically the essential role of the Kohen in the Beis Hamikdash that was receiving the face, receiving someone that came and felt so low and had to bring a korban. So you could say, no, their job was the avodah, the shechita, and the akrava, and everything. You think Aaron HaKohen wasn't with every yid where they were at and lifted up their su'is reish? But where does it come from? Sheresh Levi. Same thing. And Levi is also lashon of escorting someone, Leviah. That you have to be able to escort someone with what they're going through. But it's not just enough to escort them, you have to also lift up the way they're thinking. Nesias Rosh. Okay, tzarich lehavin davar achad chashuv me'od. You have to understand something very important. Damyenu shela'achar shegiresh Hashem es Adam migan Eden, hu haya misyayish. Imagine, after Adam was exiled or divorced out of Gan Eden, that he would have been in despair, he would have given up. Okay, zeu zeh. Hashem lo rotze sheyeh began Eden, v'ani yochol be'ota midah la'afoch lechaya. If God doesn't want me in Gan Eden, it may as well be a beast. Just be an animal now. Heichan hayinu az, where would we have been? Kamuvan, Adam hevin sheyesh kan mashu amok yoter. This is amazing. It says, what do we know about Adam HaRishon the second he was banished out of Gan Eden? What's the first thing we know about him? The Torah tells us. He was embarrassed. What does he do? He realizes he's naked. So what does he start to do? Hide. He was so embarrassed by the situation. But Adam HaRishon doesn't end his relationship with the Ribono Shel Olam over there. He could have said, if you're not interested in me in there, you're not interested in me at all. Bichlal. And that's not the way that Adam HaRishon lives his life. Especially according to the Midrash. The Midrash that talks about Adam meeting Cain after Cain says, Hen gerashta oti kayom, and Adam is megala to Cain the power of tshuva, the Midrash tells us.
We learned that, didn't we?
Yeah, we did it a few months ago on Shabbos afternoon, I think. I think Shabbos Hagadol, Joshua, or Shabbos Shuvah this year. We did it. Shabbos Shuvah. We did it this year. So Adam understands there's something deeper going on over here. As Reb Leib Eger Shoel, remember just to the chaver that aren't yet familiar with these names, Reb Yehuda Leib Eger was the son of Reb Shlomo Eger, who was the son of Rabbi Akiva Eger. Reb Leib Eger found his way to Kotsk, and then the Ishbitz, and he was basically, the Ishbitzer had three mamshichim. The son, Beis Yaakov, Reb Yaakov Ishbitzer, and Reb Tzadok HaKohen of Lublin, and Reb Leib Eger. So Reb Leib Eger asks like this, Ima anachnu yotzim michag HaShavuos acharei she'amadnu lemargelos Har Sinai. Naso kimat always is the parsha that comes right after Shavuos. Once in a blue moon it happens that Naso is before, but kimat always Naso is after Shavuos. So he asks like this, what did we leave Shavuos with? Chaver, we're 2 days after Shavuos, right? What did we leave with? What's with us? Hopefully, like we said in the beginning of Shir, hunger. Alavai, like that should be the greatest bracha, that we feel starving. That we, like the Ishbitzer says, the difference between food and Torah is that the more you eat food, the more you're full. And obviously, the more you drink from the fountain of Torah, the hungrier you get, the more thirsty you become. So this is the Shaila. We were at Har Sinai, we had Shavuos, now what? אני רוצה שתדעו דבר חשוב מאוד. Har Sinai hu chazak me'od. Like the whole experience of Har Sinai. Mind-bogglingly powerful. אבל כמה שהוא חזק, אולי אינך צריך אותו כדי לדעת כיצד להתקרב. Maybe you don't necessarily need Shavuos or Har Sinai to come close to Hashem. Maybe for you it's enough to go to a shir. Have a good shmooze, a good sichas chavernim. Could be. For like the healthy people. Or it seems like the healthy people, the ones that aren't, constantly falling and bumping into walls, and life is more or less smooth sailing. I barely know anyone like this, but there are people like this in the world. None of you that are like this, by the way. I don't think. That's why you're here. If it was smooth sailing, you wouldn't be here, for sure. And these Torahs wouldn't interest you. אולי כדי להתקרב, אני יכול להשיג לעצמי מדריך כיס, שמשה רבנו יסביר לי בו שאני צריך לשמור שבת, להתפלל בכוח כוח, להתחזק. וכך להתקרב אל Hashem. For the smooth sailors, once in a while I forget halacha, I feel a little bit depressed, but nothing too bad. Madrich kis, that means like a...
Quick start guide.
Yeah, like a quick start guide. It's like, oh, yeah, I forgot, you do this. אולי זה יספיק, אבל אתם יודעים בשביל מה אני צריך את הר סיני? You know why I need Mount Sinai? אני צריך את הר סיני לזמנים שאני מגורש לגמרי, שאני ממש מרים ידיים. That's what I need it for. For the moments in life that I feel completely thrown away. Har Sinai is such a Nesias Rosh. And it's Rav Shlomo is saying you need a Har Sinai experience in your life. And Rav Shlomo also said you need Har Sinai friendships. You need Mount Sinai friendships. Dafka for those chaver that feel like Cain, or that feel like Adam did in Brias Ha'olam. ניסיתי כל כך במשך כל חיי, I tried so hard over and over again, זו הפעם המיליון שאני מנסה להיות יהודי, it's the millionth time I'm trying to be a yid. נשבעתי לעצמי שאעשה כך ואעשה כך, and I took this on and took that on, and what happens? ואני מרים ידיים שוב ושוב. I said that I'm going to do this in my relationship with my wife, I'm going to take this on, that on, and I hit a wall no matter what. I feel megurash in my bayit, the house that I'm paying for, and everyone's wearing clothes that kiviyachol were bought because of what I worked for, and everyone's eating food that I worked for in order to have, and I try over and over again, and I feel like I'm just walking into walls. For that, I need Har Sinai to completely lift up my head and change the way that I think. It's not enough to know how to do things a little better. That's what he's saying. Person that's megurash doesn't need a quick start guide in order to do things a little bit better. They need a Har Sinai. They need v'chol ha'am roimes ha'koiles v'salapidim. They need an earth-shaking monumental experience to reboot the system. That's what they need. Sometimes people need that's why this Shabbos is called Noch Shavuos, they say by Hasidim. So there's a whole vort they say. Noch Shavuos in Yiddish, you know what Noch means? What else does it mean? Another, not just after. So it's either to you it's like, oh, the Shabbos after Shavuos. Some Yiddelach need Nach Shavuos, Nach Shavuos. They need another Har Sinai. They need another Har Sinai moment. They need another Har Sinai moment.
It's another Bishvot Sheni.
Well, that's why people don't make Aliyah.
You spoke about it.
I mentioned by Ne'ilas HaChag, yeah, because I felt it. I was like, if you come to me Motzei Yom Tov Rishon of Pesach, and you say, we're going to do another Seder tonight, to me that wouldn't really, it wouldn't really get me excited. Though I have chaver that I like, that they would get excited. But if you come to me Motzei Shavuos and you say, we're going to have another Shavuos, that would be gewalt. I do feel like Shavuos is too short. It's too short. That's what we were feeling by the Ne'ilas HaChag. Kshani omed, look at the third to bottom line in the first paragraph. Kshani omed behar Sinai. What is the experience of Mount Sinai? Ani mevin shela-Hashem yesh tochniyot muflaot avur ha'am shelo. What does it mean to lift up the way that I think? It means that at Har Sinai I realize, you have such awesome plans for your people. The problem is I wake up every morning and another chayal is killed and it doesn't seem like there's any leadership in Am Yisrael. Spiritually, religiously, politically, economically, socially. So I get so stuck. I feel like you're megarish this door. You brought us here, you teased us, gewalt tease. You had to do something after Auschwitz, so there was this, you had to bring us here. Little shtickle tease, but now I feel like it's just gerushin after gerushin. Gewalt man yodeh. What do I know? At Har Sinai, I realize, Ribono Shlem, you have much me'oid amku machshavosecha. Your machshavos are infinitely deeper than whatever I see and whatever I think. Man yodeh. Ulemala mizeh. Now let's ask the question. Ma gorem li lachshov shani megurash me'et Hashem ba'ala? Ulai ani nidchaf elav? Meaning, why do you think that you're exiled because of what you're going through right now in this moment? Get out of your own head for a second. Buckle up. Get out of your own head for a second. What makes you even think that you're really megurash? Maybe it's a moment of feeling pushed away. Beseder. Megurash? That you're exiled, that you're divorced? That's a heavy lashon. But what makes a person feel like this? I need Har Sinai to remind me it wasn't a gerushin. It was a yerida l'tzarech aliyah. I'll share with you. I was thinking about this morning davening. I wasn't in the. I didn't come to shul excited. Nothing bad happened. Just maybe post Shavuos exhaustion. Yesterday was a very busy day, intense day. I didn't know. And then I remembered Rabbeinu HaKadosh Reb Nachman ben Fega, who doesn't let any yid fall into gerushin, because ein yush ba'ilam klal. He says sometimes you have to know how to serve the Ribbon Shalom bekatnus. Everyone wants to serve Hashem begadlus. But you have to also learn, I'm sure you've learned this Torah many times, you have to learn how to serve Hashem also bekatnus. What does that mean, bekatnus? Bekatnus means when you're not feeling it. Now what happens to a person when they fall into a state of katnus and they don't know Rabbi Nachman's Torah? They interpret what they're going through as gerushin. I need Har Sinai to remind me, it's not gerushin. It's just yerida l'tzorech aliyah. You can't see it right now. But don't start saying it's gerushin. Ein yush ba'ilam klal. Now's the time to serve the Ribbon Shalom through katnus. And I just took that into, because usually I love to feel on fire already by saying, especially after what we learned here, Zokif Kefufim, when we learned it in the Machich Ramaya V'Zakif Kefifin. So we were learning Friday mornings, Machich Ramaya V'Zakif Kefifin. I've had this bigger kavanah with that bracha, Baruch Atah Hashem Zakif Kefufim, that you lift up all those that feel megurash, that feel humble, that feel, right? And just, it's such a deep Torah, Chavra. Mamash, hold on to it for dear life, because it's going to happen in life that you're going to feel bekatnus. But don't run to the interpretation that it's gerushin. And for that, we need Har Sinai as a revelation to remind us that that's an Ikar Yesod in Avodas Hashem. Ikar Yesod, Avodas Hashem.
It's an opportunity, you're saying.
Big time, but I don't see it as an opportunity unless I have a Har Sinai experience. Right?
I think he's also saying it in contrast to Har Sinai, is that after the big moments in life is when we have to feel that come down. So that's why it always comes out after Har Sinai was the original question. Why does it always come out after
Shavuos?
But definitely because that's when we feel that flow, where you feel this.
Very good.
For the time.
Exactly. So you're saying Gewalt. You're saying the Torah has to meet us after Har Sinai and tell us you're having a hangover, right?
Especially you're going, like you mentioned on Shabbos. Tisha B'Av, like there's a lot of.
And now you're going into the summer months, Gvura, Esav months, B'diuk. You're gonna feel Gershon's in the air. Gershon's in the air. Warning, Gershon's in the air. So Nasso.
It's Nasso. Gershon is lifting us up in the state of Gershon.
Yeah, Nasso Yisroish, B'nei Gershon. Lift up the state of, very good.
So Rav David Zeller would say, you're not having a breakdown, you're having a breakthrough. And the
Halavai.
problem is, they feel the same.
Nachon.
And also,
Yeah.
that was, I also heard David sing, I think it was Rav Shlomo Niggin, with Rabbi Nachman saying you have to learn how to walk.
Oh, the
learn how to
deepest
fall.
Torah. Reb David, I was with him one year at the Kever. I had it on tape where he sang that piece, that teaching. I sent it on the group years ago. Send it again. I gotta send it again. Atlanta, 1987. Reb Shlomo's rendition there, Atlanta, 87. Wow. Remind me after Shia. I'm gonna send it to you. Reb Nachman says, a person has to learn 3 things. I'm not gonna ruin it for you. I'm gonna send it to you. But it's mamash a Torah of Bnei Gershon Torah. Literally. Okay. Let's finish this. Har Sinai hu lo rak hechan, third to bottom paragraph. Har Sinai hu lo rak hechan she'Hashem omer li ma la'asot u'ma lo la'asot. Some people think Har Sinai was like a halachic manual. Now Hashem's telling you what to do and what not to do. Really? The first 2 commandments are what to do and what not to do? That's what it is. That's what you think that's what it is? Ha'omek achi amok shel Har Sinai hu ha'yediah she'Hashem be'emet mit'asek iti. This is too deep for me to even translate. What is the revelation of Har Sinai? That the Ribbon Shalom is even dealing with me. That he's in. How would you see? I forgot what he said how he said this in English. Obviously, this was said in English. This is 1976. He said this teaching. What was the lashon there?
I think dealing is a good word.
Dealing.
Busy with
Interacting, dealing.
Kidu. It's a much deeper revelation to walk out of Har Sinai, being in awe of the fact that God, who created the heavens and earth, is interested in me. Maybe that's the good one. Maybe that's a better one.
relationship.
Yeah, he's interested in me. Much more than God's manual was given. Right? It's a much greater thing to think God's even interested in
Well,
me.
interested is like an interest, like just disconnected, but he's actually mitasek. What's happening to me
Dealing.
in my life, he's doing that.
He's doing it. He's
He's
involved.
doing a thing
Yeah.
with me.
Yeah. He's doing a
He's
thing
in
with me.
relation, yeah.
וכשאני מרגיש שהשם ממש מתעסק איתי, when I feel that God is dealing with me and he's involved with me and he's interested in me, הכל נעשה חשוב, everything becomes important. מה אני יודע על התפקיד שלי בעולם? What do I know about what I'm doing in this world, my job in this world? ואפילו אינך יודע, אבל מודע לכך שאינך יודע, but even if you don't know exactly what you should be doing, but you're aware of the fact that you don't know exactly what you should be doing, what should you do at that moment? Nasso is rosh. Many people that feel exiled, it's because they don't feel that they don't know what they're doing with themselves. And they're under the impression that if God was interested in them, he would make it clear to them what they're supposed to be doing in this world. So therefore, Nasso is rosh. Rav Shlomo says, Dafka here, I've come to a realization after Shavuos, God is dealing with me. Hu mitasek iti. I don't know exactly what I'm supposed to be doing yet. So what should you do at that moment? Lift up the way that you think. Lift up the way that you give perushim on things. Change your perush. Change the sefer you're learning. Change the perush. You ever learn a pessimistic perush on the Torah? I've never learned a pessimistic perush on the Torah.
No, I always think about that.
What do you mean?
Noach bashers.
Oh, the Noach bashers.
Yeah, the Noah is like the.
You spoke about biblical criticism.
Yeah, biblical criticism. Disgusting. Biblical criticism. No? Disgusting.
There is a sheet like of Rishis Chochma, like I don't want to go there, but like,
I don't think that's pessimistic.
it's really painful to hear about it.
I don't know. I don't think it's.
Like, I mean, I have been such for years, but I don't want to say the names. But such
Well,
didn't
nada
focus
babiu,
on
there's a
it most
million.
of the
That's not. That's not pessimistic. The way Mochin Dekatnus teachers gave over concepts to us is pessimistic. Right. But listen. Yaniv and I learned Rav Dessler. You feel is it pessimistic? It's listen.
He was filled with Chassidus.
Yeah, but you wouldn't put that on the shelf next to the Naim Elimelech and say it's Hainu Hach. I have a friend from the Moshav, Alon Tiger, like an amazing Yid. He said he was with Rav Shlomo. He learned with him for years and years. He said he always felt that Rav Shlomo was giving Musar. I said to him, how could you say such a thing? This is like the sweetest Torah. He's like, you don't understand. When you are shown what the world could be like and what you could be like, and then you realize where you are, that's Musar. That's heavy Musar. Okay. So here, Nasso, what's Gershon? Gershon is the pessimistic, passive-aggressive interpretation of life. That's what it is. Nasso is Rosh B'nai Gershon. The whole Avodah is lift up the way you think. Lift up. How do I lift it up? By getting out of my head and realizing the Ribono Shel has a much deeper plan for Am Yisrael. So Bemet, it's very easy to be very depressed right now living in Eretz Yisrael. It is. It's very easy. Because Bemet, Bachitzonius, it looks like a mabul, like we never horrible. Inside something much, much bigger, much deeper is Ribono Shel plans. Rabbos machshavos belev ish va'atzas Hashem hisakum. God's plans are infinitely deeper and wider and wiser than anything we could come to. And when I feel megursh, I don't know how to look at things any other way. So lift up the head. of the way that the person that with an exiled cup, with a divorced cup. Let's finish this. Nasso is ראש, הרמס ראשך, כל המבט שלך צריך להיות שונה לגמרי. הראש שלך צריך להיות במקום אחר. אז רב לייבל אומר, שהקדושה של שבט לוי הייתה עבודת בית המקדש. Let's call it what it is. Who was busy doing things in the Beis HaMikdash? Levi, whether it was Kohen or whether it was Levi. They're the ones that are really involved most in the avodah of the Beis HaMikdash. Why? Because hem yadu ketzad laseit et rashehem. They knew the power of lifting up their head. I remember the Torah we said so many times by the Bnei Yisachar. He says this in Agar Dakala. On Shabbos we taste this because when you take the word Rosh, lift up Su'us Rosh, take the word Rosh and lift each letter of that in the Aleph base by one, you get Shabbos. Resh becomes Shin, Aleph becomes Bet, and Shin becomes Taf. So lift up the Rosh, you're in Shabbos. Right? We've learned this many, but it's not like a cute, oh wow, that worked out really nice. Like a Rav Ginsburg Gematria, what was the latest one? 7 squared?
No, 13 times 7 to the something power.
Lifting up.
You just said, just move over the bar. You didn't even want to go to the bar.
Right.
We
Right.
don't need that whole thing. We're just already in the mochil and
Nachon. So Levi's avodah was Beis HaMikdash. They knew how to lift up their heads. Why? כשאתה בא לבית המקדש, לאחר שאתה חושב שגורשת. This is so beautiful. A Yid would come to the Beis HaMikdash after he felt that he was deported, that he was completely repulsed, that he was divorced. You come to the Beis HaMikdash, you walk out, אתה מבין שמעולם לא גורשת. The Levi and the Kohen had this way to give over to you, brother, you were never, ever divorced. You were never exiled. You were never deported. Bevias HaMashiach, now look, this is like a classic Rav Shlomo line. Bevias HaMashiach, and he never said when Mashiach will come. He always said, and I always wonder if this is just because of his not knowing dikduk English so well, or there was a deeper inyan. He said when Mashiach is coming. Always. Always. He never said when Mashiach will come. He always said when Mashiach is coming, which doesn't grammatically add up. There's an inyan there. So he said when Mashiach is coming, Hashem lo yashiv otanu legan Eden. God's not going to bring us back to Gan Eden. אבל אתם יודעים מה כן יקרה? לפתע נבין שגן עדן היה כאן כל הזמן הזה. The greatest revelation will be, and this is Ishbitz 101, Ishbitz 101, the greatest revelation will be that Gan Eden was always here because you were never ever thrown out of Gan Eden. Now you'll come to me with the class with a very good shaila, but the Torah says, Vayigaresh es ha'adam. That's what the Torah says. Are we going senile or? So, what does that mean? That Adam was never thrown out? Or that he was thrown out?
He mentally, yeah, that's what it was.
He wanted Adam to realize that I'm throwing you out of here because your inyan is to lift up your rosh. Here you're not lifting up your rosh. In here, there's nothing happening with you. There's nothing happening with you. You're not doing anything. Nesias Rosh. And when you realize that, you realize it was all an illusion. Like the Ishbitzer says, we're going to look at this whole world. It was all an illusion. It was all an ashlaya. We're ripping through all the masachim amavdilim and realizing that the Shekhinah was always here, the Beis HaMikdash was always here. Like they said by Rav Shimon Bar Yochai and a lot of the tzaddikim, that they lived a mitzias that the Beis HaMikdash was never destroyed. Why? Because their Nesias Rosh was constant. Har Sinai was constant by them. So I want to give us a bracha, if it's us that needs to hear this Torah, or someone else that needs to hear this Torah, you should find them and you should give this over. Like, you never know who needs to hear this. Nasso is Rosh B'nai Gershon, Gam Heim. All the Gam Heims. Oh, I'm also? Yes, you're also included in it. And Alvai, we could take Shavuos like this with us, especially now, going into Tammuz and Av. I mean, it's this Sivan now, but Tammuz and Av are around the corner. להרים את הראש ביחד. שכוח.